So Gemini, welcome to your love reading for December 30th to the 31st of 2018. So the next 2 days, and it is 11:11 actually on the clock as soon as I pressed record. So pay attention to synchronicities, things that you might your spirit guides might tap you on the shoulder. Hey, relax yourself, be aware of this, pay attention to this, trying to get through to you at times when you might be feeling a bit overwhelmed emotionally. All right, so let's see what's going on with you, Gemini, in love. So theme. So there might be a divorce that you might be going through for some, a pending one. A lot of friction around the home. New Year's Eve is approaching, so there might be a bit of turbulent energy with you and somebody else. So actually not having the home that you want, insecurity around it, bills, sometimes moving out, a lack of structure and commitment. So there's something going on there with you and someone else. All right, so let's see what's crossing for Gemini. What's crossing? So a lot of you might be moving. You might be thinking about moving, or you're just moving away from someone and trying to just step back and get away from heavier conflict with you and another person. I feel it's like you're trying to turn your back on the memories that you have about a broken past for some. That's what I feel like you might be trying to go through. So you're trying to do these things. It doesn't mean that you're automatically doing it. Maybe thinking about packing up, taking a little break, taking a hike, getting away, and trying to enjoy yourself the next 2 days. All right. So the base of the matter for Gemini, Knight of Wands. So movement. All right, but Taurus had this as well. You might be dealing with the Taurus, and there might be thoughts of getting close to someone. So I want some of you to be careful that if you were just recently removed from a marriage or a commitment, you might feel very spontaneous and a bit like you want to take a risk to get closer to someone intimately, but you want to be careful about that because you might not be ready right now, and maybe the other person is not either. So just be aware about that. So that's a fire sign that might be showing up for some who might be dealing with the fire sign. Recent past for Gemini, what may you've been going through. So yeah, a lot of things going on, a lot of anxiety and maybe fears, being alone, not being able to trust another person, whether or not you can trust that they are going to be dedicated to making the right choices for the commitment between both of you. So financially, you're trying to figure out whether or not someone is available, whether or not they're secure. Can you bring your assets together in some way to have a healthy commitment relationship? There may have been a lot of confusion about that. So internally, feeling a bit fearful, but then your intuition maybe have been telling you something is off, and you're trying to trust it, and you're trying to heed your own advice. So it's in a mode so far of kind of taking your time right now. Let's see what's on your mind currently for Gemini. So you're working. All right, so the Eight of Pentacles is hard work and dedication. Sometimes it's just an overload of work around the home. Sometimes the work could just be throughout the New Year's weekend and, well, Sunday and Monday. You could be working, kind of getting things together around the home, or some of you might literally be making a big change and kind of thinking about moving away from someone because you might not want to go into a new year attached to a broken marriage or relationship or something that has not been working out. So you might choose some overtime or do something that brings you a lot of success and make you feel better, rather than focusing on things that drain you. All right, so what might be coming towards you? Who might be coming towards you for Gemini next 2 days? Stress, conflict, competition, arguments sometimes where there might be squabbles, and sometimes the Five of Wands can be very intense, but it's a lot of times it can be very petty. It's a minor arcana. You don't have to get into it, but that person might be very frustrated with you, especially if they want to get close to you. Let's see, how might you respond for Gemini? How might you respond? So whatever it is, even if you sometimes this is like you might lose money, you might even spend money, but you're working, so you're trying to reestablish that balance. But I feel for some where you, and as I know I'm moving my eyes around a lot. Sometimes things I'm sinking in, and I'm kind of hearing things, or it's hard to describe. Sometimes my mind kind of pulses like that and I get information. But where you, this is coming through, and I feel where someone coming towards you for conflict. For some, you might owe somebody something, and you might be working, for some of you, you're working hard to pay that person back. You might be working hard because you have to take care of a child on your own. You have to work through saving so that you can move into your own place or move away from this marriage, because it's not good between the both of you. So some of you, this is for a lot of you, I think, where you might be having making plans because you might be around somebody that you were living with, and living together is not the best thing, even if you were married. And if you have a new love interest, your new love interest may have addressed that and say, that's not going to work out. I can't trust that. I can't trust you being around that person. These things have to change if you're going to make something better between me and you, because there are a lot of trust issues going on. So whoever it might be, and this is something I want to say, where the Five of Wands is, when you feel a bit confrontational, you feel like conflict might be coming your way, you might be really stressed about it, and you might put on a suit of armor and go out, and you might go to a lot of restaurants, you might go and eat heavily, you might go and do things to kind of make yourself feel better in some way. So you might be protecting yourself from any kind of disruption when it comes to bodily harm, things like that. So I feel like just be aware of what you might get into. So psychologically, someone could have the better of you in some way, because you might not be feeling all that confident right now. But I feel like the Eight of Pentacles is really good, so that you can focus on something and try not to allow other things or people or scenarios to distract you from the from what you want to accomplish. All right. And let's see, I want to clarify the Five of Wands and see if a person shows up. Clarify the Five of Wands for Gemini. And the Wheel of Fortune is showing up. I feel this is telling me that there's a fight for success. Someone might be pushing themselves towards you to try to get you to open up to them, because they might feel like they're better for you, or it's good for you to be together, or it's good for you two to work things out again. For some, for two things, it's not going to be for everybody, but you got to be careful that you don't get pushed into a scenario of going back into a trap where something is over, and the person that you might be trying to pull away from is trying to pull you back in. The Wheel of Fortune to me, as I've been understanding, is it can be very good. It can be karmic destiny, but it can be a karmic cycle that you get trapped into, which could be healthy or it can be unhealthy depending on how you kind of go about it. So you can get into a relationship that might be unhealthy for you. You're treating the person that you're with very well. You're helping them out. You're helping them get back on their feet, doing these things. But it can be something that you almost self-sacrifice yourself for. And the other person needs to learn some lessons on their own, so that you can detach and focus on you and not feel guilty about doing that. So be aware about that. All right. So let's see some cards here for Gemini. So December 30th to 31st for Gemini love. And flirt, it says extend your lighthearted energies to others. And I feel like that is part of you. Be careful about getting trapped and pulled back into an arrangement that's not really healthy for you. I'm not telling you what to do, I'm telling you what to be aware of. And that's what I'm being got to kind of say here. All right. One more for Gemini for December 30th to 31st. Deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. So that's why I want you to be careful. Some good things are coming in, but I feel like it's more to do so on traveling, doing different things, exploring, trying to sift through what hasn't been working out for you so far. And the Eight of Pentacles is something that's a big success. I feel like that's what the universe would like us to do more often, but also find a balance of being able to detach. But hey, you put your work in, you try the best you can do to make a relationship work, but the other person has to try to help out in some way. If they're not, then what's what. You what they have to do. So that's going to be your reading for the next 2 days. I hope the messages did help out. Tons of love, lots of light to you, tons of healing vibes. I wish you the best, and you can always go to psychicloveheals.com to schedule something for you. So have a good one.